Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the moon transiting the eighth house in a natal chart. On average, the moon, well, generally speaking, I should say, the moon transits a house between 48 and 72 hours. So, anyway, people, what I want to get at is first thing with the moon transiting the eighth house, there might be more of an emotional need as far as perhaps digging deep into things that are superficial. You may have a very strong aversion to at this point. You may want to really look strongly beneath the surface, and it might be something where you have to be careful too on this. It's good to look deeper into things and not look at things just at face value. But what you have to remember is that sometimes I think people when they look deep into something and during this transit, sometimes they might look a little bit deeper than what is necessary. So just not to overanalyze something, I think, is important too. And the thing about it is there you might have a stronger inclination for maybe extensive research. You might feel more of this emotional need to go into mysteries, solving things. If there's something that you haven't, there's been a conundrum or something's been confounding, it might be more that need right now to go look into that a little bit stronger than ordinarily. And during this period, you might be a little bit more introverted, a little more introspective, maybe even might have come across a little bit more mysterious to others, more secretive than ordinarily. You may be more sensitive, even in some cases, perhaps to things connected with inheritances. This could be isolated. But let's say, for example, in an isolated case, let's say you were left out of an inheritance some time ago. Well, this could be that time where those feelings might fester a little. They might hit you a little bit stronger. Like say you're thinking about it or reminiscing about some time where you were left out an inheritance, and it might be a time where it might impact you a little bit more emotionally than usual. Now, it could be possible too that your mother and or women in general may factor in a little bit stronger, more prominently as far as shared resources, things that you have, and you might share alike with them. And this could be something also where there might be maybe a need, maybe emotional need, perhaps to be interested more, perhaps in some eighth house things such as maybe the astrology, supernatural, the occult, the macabre, things like maybe horror movies or flicks, something that might be spooky, or something that has to do with mysteries, like watching 48 Hours Mystery, for example, something like that. Those things that are connected with things that are mysterious and in horror genre, those things you might have a little bit more of an interest during this time. And also, I think when the moon transits the eighth house, there can be some vacillation of extreme moods. You might go through a quick period where you feel very elated and very ecstatic about something, but then the next moment you might feel really disconsolate or very dejected. So those are some things to look at as far as a transit of the moon in your natal eighth house. And also, it could be something where you might feel more of this need, perhaps as far as something connected with transformation or regeneration. If there's something where you wanted to make some change for some time, you might be thinking a little bit more about this. You may also be more sensitive, perhaps from a sexual partner, to maybe, for example, an unintentional slight may be taken as criticism or ridicule. And even if something maybe derisive or derogatory comes from a sexual partner, you might react a little bit more strongly to it during this transit than you would ordinarily. So, and those are some things to consider as far as this transit goes. And it might be something where a sexual partner might see you as a little bit more moody or more temperamental during this period than usual, or conversely, you might see a sexual partner is more moody or temperamental or vacillating during this period than you would ordinarily. So, and this could be something where you might feel a little bit more interested in something like psychology or psychoanalyzing something more so than usual. So this could be really, it's important to look at also to look at the sign that the moon is transiting during this period for either whether it's for the majority or it's the whole period of the transit in the 8th house. So let's say, for example, that the moon is in Virgo for either the majority or the whole period that it's transiting the 8th house. Well, this could be give maybe a little more proclivity to analyze things connected with the 8th house. Maybe, for example, maybe analyzing things connected with others' resources, perhaps. And maybe the moon transiting the 8th house could be digging deep, but you could also, maybe with the moon in Virgo, it could give more of an analytical side to this and even more Virgo analysis as far as that goes. Now, let's say for another example, let's say that the moon is in Scorpio for either the majority or the whole period of the moon's transit in the 8th house. Well, this could add a little bit of emotional intensity to maybe matters connected with the sexual partner, maybe matters even connected, let's say, with shared or others' resources. You might even be more sensitive, even more so. Maybe, like, say, if a death took place, for example, in looking very strongly and deep into it. If that were to occur during this transit, or it could be from a death that could have happened some time ago, that you might be looking at it really strongly with a lot of Scorpio emotional intensity. So it's also important to look at the aspects that are made during the time that the moon is transiting your 8th house, as this could impact the transit a little bit. Now, let's say, for example, that the transit moon is making a square, an inconjunct, or an opposition to your natal Mars. Well, that could indicate perhaps that you might have some contentious maybe experiences or acrimonious experiences connected with the sexual partner, perhaps connected with somebody that's involved with shared resources. It could be something over inheritance in some isolated cases, something connected with a death perhaps, or it could be maybe something connected with a major change you're trying to make, and you might not get that emotional support from others, and it might be in conflict with what some other people may think. So another example is, let's say that the transit moon in the 8th house is making a sextile or trine to your natal Jupiter. Well, this could really be auspicious for putting a lot of positive energy perhaps into things connected with the 8th house, perhaps matters connected with the sexual partner, maybe a lot of exuberance and connected maybe with an 8th house, things such as astrology or psychology, the occult. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the moon transiting the 8th house in a natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the moon transiting the 9th house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.